Hey, everybody. Welcome to Thoughtful Thursday. Today, I thought we'd play a little game. So, we're going to play Would You Rather? And so, I'm going to ask some questions, and you write down, I'm going to ask you three questions. You can ask them, then we're going to talk about them. So, the first question is Would you rather be rich or just not poor? Rich or not poor? That's question number one. Question number two is Would you rather be beautiful or handsome or just not ugly? And so, beautiful, handsome, or not ugly. And the third one is Would you rather be healthy or just not sick? So that's question three, healthy or not sick. So hopefully you're keeping score at home and you have three questions and three answers. So this idea of, especially these days, we get canceled for not having the right idea. And, that's a bunch of hogwash. And so when you get asked these questions, depending upon what you've been raised to believe or your social circle believes in, that's going to largely swing your answer. So the first one, rich or not poor, I'd rather be rich than not poor. And I had an interesting experience, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago that kind of led to this. And that, for Christmas, which is coming up, and I love presents. We have a huge ceiling in our living room, and so I love trees. So we always get like this 20 some foot tree, and I end up cutting it down. I think our ceiling is like just under 20 feet. And so first year we went out and we got this huge tree. I mean, it hung off 4 or 5 feet off the front of my pickup truck and a few feet off the back of my pickup truck. And it was a cut your own tree farm, and it was just $20 was all this guy wanted. And so I paid $20 for a 4-foot tree. And so I said, I can't give you just $20. So I'm trying to give him $80. And the guy's old gentleman, he's getting very, very angry with me. And he's like, this money isn't even for me. And I'm like, all right, well, what do you do with the money? He goes, I give it all to my church. I'm like, so you have a problem with giving your church more money? And then he was really angry because he knew I was right, but he didn't want to admit that I was. And he had that struggle with money in his mind. And money is not evil. That's where most people that don't want to be rich, because they've heard money is the root of all evil. And that's not true. Money is a representation of the exchange of talent you have and the time you used it. So you put those two together and it's valuable to someone else, and they pay you money. Because otherwise, I'd adjust you and you'd have to give me a couple of chickens or whatever, and if I don't need chickens, then you got to find someone that needs chickens, and it just makes the whole exchange much easier. But he just struggled with that. But if you are rich, if you have millions and millions of dollars, you can give away millions and millions of dollars if you don't want that money. If you feel the need, but you can't help the poor if you're just not rich. You can go and spend some time there, but you could do a lot more for them with that, if you were rich, because you could give money to them. You could, buy them services, or since you're rich, you don't have to work. So you can just spend all your time going around working like Mother Teresa did. So that's the first one. The second one is beautiful or handsome, or beautiful/handsome or not ugly. And let's admit, some people are just much more attractive than others, and cue all the jokes that are going to be thrown at me and shades thrown at me this way. That's whatever. Big shoulders, I can handle it. But there is some truth to that. And I remember when Susan Boyle first walked out on stage, and then nobody, whatever music show she was on, and that all the judges, you could see it in their faces, and that they had already judged her. Here's what is she doing out here? And then she opened that mouth, and that voice came out, and they were just blown away because they had all judged her beforehand. And we've all heard the phrase, never judge a book by its cover, but we all do. In fact, I have one of my favorite business books, and I thought I had it here, but I couldn't find it, so it must be at home. I bought the cover is what caught my eye. I bought it because of the cover. I didn't read anything on the cover, never heard of the author. And I very often tell stories that I gained from that book when I'm speaking. And so we do it. And so why wouldn't you want to be more attractive? Why wouldn't you want to be more appealing to whoever you're speaking or dealing with, because we've also heard, don't shoot the messenger, you know. And so, but they have to buy whoever's listening to you or you're working with, or if you're trying to get a job, they have to accept you. They have to buy you before they get your message and that you're the best person for the company or that you can help them. So you have to do that. So, and then the last one, would you rather be healthy or not sick? So when I ask people this question, most of the time they get this really strange look on their face, because to them, to most people, it's the same thing. Being healthy is not being sick, and they are two very different things. And so in chiropractic, we have the spectrum of life. And so you got health on one side and you have death on the other. And in between, we have health, or in chiropractic, we call that ease, because it's easy to breathe, it's easy to pump blood, make blood, digest food, etc. And then you get to a state called dis-ease, where it's no longer easy. You can do it and you may not even notice it, but you're maybe a little more tired at the end of the day because your body's spending more energy to try and do the things that should come easily. And then you get to the point where you're disease, you have symptoms, and you're sick, and then it just keeps tapering off. And that spectrum, called the spectrum of life, that's present everywhere. And where you are on that spectrum determines the circumstances of what's going on in and somewhat around you. But when you look at COVID, we have, on one hand of the spectrum, you have those people that we hear about all the time. They're having a horrible time. They can't breathe. They're on ventilators. They're dying in hospitals. That's what you hear about all the time. But we forget that the vast majority, 98% of the people that come down with it, are somewhere in, it was okay. I ate a little bit. And there's a fairly large percentage of people that find out, they give blood and they find out they have antibodies. So they got exposed, they had it and don't know. And it's that spectrum. So you want to be healthy. And so what is health? That is proper function. Every cell, organ, tissue, gland, muscle, joint in your body has a job to do. And if it's not doing its job, then you have a problem. And if it's your heart or your lungs or your brain, you're going to know about it real quick. If it's something in your pinky toe, you might not know about it for years, but that is the reality. And so, what is healthy for you? Well, there's a lot of things. There's certain foods you could eat that could be healthier for you. But which ones are those? And what is healthy for me? Is that going to be good for you? I don't know. You have to experiment on yourself and try. But exercise, we have to stay somewhat physically fit, but none of those control function. Chiropractors, we work with the spine and the nervous system because that is what controls function. So in chiropractic, it's not a treatment for things. It just helps things run the way your body's supposed to. So, if you want to have those usual headaches that patients come in and say, I just get the usual headaches. What's that? I get like 3-4 headaches a week. You shouldn't, Well, I always have. Well, that doesn't mean you should. Just because your car's supposed to get 30 miles to the gallon, it gets 10, and it always has. Does that mean it should? No, you'd be trying to figure it out. And so it is with you. So hope you like Thoughtful Thursday, trying a new format out. And thanks for all the likes and comments and shares. And I will see you tomorrow for Philosophy Friday. Bye-bye.